Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday morning, which means it's time to talk about another terrible episode of Star Trek Picard. I am your host, Matthew Kadish, this morning. With me, as always, is my hetero life mate, Matt Vader 74.
Oh, hey, whoa, you're getting a little extreme there, man. No, that's cool. Hetero life mate. I'm okay with that. Good morning. How are we?
We're doing good. How are you doing? You all
I'm good.
moved in yet?
I'm a little more caffeinated this week, so I'm gonna rattle some ice in your ear to drive you crazy right off the bat. I know that drives you nuts.
And of course, with us as always is the Dork Knight himself, Danny. Danny, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Excited for WrestleMania weekend. Not so excited about this Picard episode, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
And of course, Brian from the Popcast. Brian, how you doing this morning?
I'm hanging in there, my dude. And you know what? I actually enjoyed this episode of Picard because I'm comparing it to the two episodes prior.
Low bar.
And Salty Trekker, we don't know where he is. He may hop in late. He may not show up at all. But as always, he is welcome. But real quick before we get into this, since Brian's on the stream, I want to tell everyone about our Eureka t-shirt that Brian's company is manufacturing for us. It's a Global Dynamics t-shirt to celebrate our club coverage of the show Eureka. And Matt Vader 74, we've got a new shirt ready to go this month because we are starting our Stargate Atlantis coverage, and we've got a Stargate t-shirt here with the Pegasus logo and a Rodney McKay quote that says, "I react to certain doom in a certain way. It's a bad habit." So if you are a Stargate Atlantis fan, be sure to order that shirt and show off your fandom because only Stargate Atlantis fans will get that.
Yeah. Coincidentally, I'm actually in the middle of editing a Stargate Atlantis video. That's supposed to be going up today.
Yeah, April is Stargate Atlantis month here on the Salty Nerd podcast. And we've actually, in addition to covering 4 Stargate Atlantis episodes just for our club members, we're also going to be having a chat with David Hewlett, and we're going to be releasing a video interview with Joe Flanagan this month. So it's going to be a Stargate terrific month.
Fantastic.
Fantastic, exactly. All right. Real quick, we've already got a $5 super chat, Danny.
Super chat.
You got to say it in the Joker voice. Hail, salty nerds!
No, I'm not going to do that. Joker voice, one of our mods in the chat. He has his own channel over there. Hail, salty nerds! Newest video just dropped. Could lead to a one-on-one with Las Vegas Aces head coach Becky Hammond. Hashtag keep talking. Yes, definitely hashtag keep talking. Check out Joker Voice's channel over there, guys. If you haven't already, go over there and sub to him. He has his opinions on things. It's good stuff. Thanks, Joker.
Is that a Las Vegas thing?
What's that?
Yeah,
Aces. Yeah, that's
sports thing.
Yeah, these guys don't know sports, man. The Aces are our WNBA team over here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Hilarious.
It's actually quite popular. They sell out the stadium. So
no, I know. Yeah, the WNBA is the best sport to bet on right now.
So speaking of the chat, we just want to acknowledge some of our chat users here. Sean Collette, the film professor himself.
Acknowledge.
Good to see you, buddy. We got Joker Voice, of course. Pop Culture Minefield is in the chat. Anthony Mark. Anima Confusa, our current reigning trivia queen. Joey, good to see you, Joey. See here, who else? Captain Trek is in the chat. Good to see you, Captain Trek. And of course, Danny's mom, PJO.
Oh, hey, Mom.
Always good. And Richard Lawson. Hail, nerds. All right. Thank you all for being in the chat with us this morning. We're going to be talking about the latest episode of Star Trek Picard, along with a lot of the character reveals for Star Trek Strange New Worlds and anything else we feel like talking about. Real quick, before we get started, though, we had a little bit of an issue with our Halo review this week. So, we killed ourselves to get the Halo review out on Wednesday to meet our normal release schedule. And within 8 hours, CBS blocked it in all territories and put a copyright claim on it and basically said, no, you can't talk about Halo because you had a 6-second clip of the show in your review.
Wait.
So,
was it really 6 seconds?
It was 6 seconds.
So did they manually claim it?
I'm guessing they did because it passed YouTube's checks.
Yeah.
So
YouTube is 8 seconds.
Yeah. So we basically had to take that video down, fix it, and then re-upload it. And then 8 hours after that, we got another worldwide ban and copy strike on it for yet another 5-second, 45-second millisecond clip.
Are these like legitimate claims, or is somebody just messing with you? Because that's a thing now, apparently.
No, it's the audio, man. You got to get the audio out.
No, we didn't have any audio. It was strictly visual. And CBS has been doing this with every Halo review. They've been going in, finding people, and striking. Was it Angry Joe got his Halo review struck down and banned?
Yeah, they didn't do it to ours, and we played like half the TV show while we were talking.
Probably haven't got to you yet.
Well, no, they just they auto claimed it, and then we just disputed it as a commentary and went away.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we've had to re-upload our Halo review 3 times. We've made sure that all the clips that we use are less than 5 seconds in length. So hopefully that'll fix it. But if not, we may have to start releasing our Halo reviews without any contextual clips in them, just so we're actually able to deliver our reviews as opposed to getting them permanently banned across the internet.
Matt, I can show you a trick too to sort of mess with the auto system.
Okay, cool. But because I bring this up because CBS has also been hitting us on these live streams for talking about Picard and Star Trek, because it's the same studio. It's Paramount basically. So it's kind of funny because even when we try not to show clips or anything that would get us copy struck, for whatever reasons, YouTube's algorithm knows when we're talking about a certain failed Georgia gubernatorial candidate who appeared in the season finale of Discovery, and they limit our
JJ's sister, that one?
Yes, JJ's sister. They limit our what was it, like our ability to monetize or something like that. They call it advertiser non-friendly. So pretty much anytime we bring up anything even remotely related to politics, YouTube's algorithm can pick out our words and limit our monetization on the video, which isn't that big of a deal, but it's still kind of like Big Brother-ish, and it's annoying. So between the Halo thing and the Star Trek thing, we are not big fans of Paramount/CBS right now because they're making life very difficult to talk about their terrible TV shows. So anyway, speaking of terrible TV shows, let's get into Picard episode 5.
Beautiful segue.
Yes, I don't even remember the name of the episode. Something like "Fly Me to the Moon."
Fly me to the moon.
The moon.
Dude,
which they had playing.
How hot is Picard's ancestor? I was like,
pretty
damn.
hot. Yeah, pretty hot.
She's a good-looking lady.
She's not bad.
Or birthing person, I should say.
Honestly, I this season I prefer Girardi.
You are crazy. You are freaking crazy, Brian.
I don't know what to tell you, bro. Dude, that red dress is just doing it for me.
You're
well,
like,
that's
I like,
in the next. Or well,
I like chicks who might be able to murder me. That
absolutely,
yeah.
it's my fetish. Bro. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
Yeah.
certainly
Plus,
makes
now
it
she has the
exciting.
Borg Queen, so she's even more murdery. Oh, bro, I was diamonds that episode.
Whole episode. I got things to say about that. All right, so let's talk about Girardi first and foremost, because this was so cringe in my opinion. So at a certain point in the episode, the Borg Queen uses the futuristic spaceship to hack into the local cell towers and call the police. And while this is happening, Girardi has fucked off to Chateau Picard to take a nap, leaving the Borg Queen completely unsupervised. And the way the Borg Queen gets control of the ship is she mimics Rios's voice. And you would just think, hey, maybe we should have like manual control instead of voice activation with the Borg Queen around. But regardless of that, Girardi spends half the episode asleep. And then when the Borg Queen threatens to kill the police officer who shows up, Girardi shoots her with a shotgun to rescue the guy. and then gets immediately implanted with the Borg Queen's consciousness because
Which we don't find out till later, though.
Because she gets close enough to allow the Borg Queen to touch her face and implant that shit in her head. And now she has a weird Tyler Durden scenario where she's listening to the Borg Queen, who only she can see, show up, but the Borg Queen body is actually dead. And she's like, oh, I may have just ruined our one chance to get home, but we all know now that she's going to become the Borg Queen.
Yeah.
And she's going to be the one who gets them back to their timeline. So what do we think about this story thread, Matt Vader 74?
I think it's the whole stuff with her calling the cops and Girardi falling asleep. It was just, I don't know. They were just like trying to figure out a weird way to try to make it happen, I guess. And it just seems very kind of easy and silly to me. I don't know. Is the Borg Queen an android now? Is she Data? Is she able to mimic anybody's voice that she wants to do? Are they making up new powers as they go? Well, she's a Borg, so she can obviously do anything. You know, she's just like an android. But I didn't know they could like manipulate their voice box. I don't know. It just seems very strange. And you know the whole thing with Girardi sleeping over at the chateau most of the time. I mean, honestly, come on. If you leave, it's terrible babysitter. You don't leave the kids alone, right? Unless they're in bed asleep. So she shouldn't be like going off and going to sleep and letting the kid have the run of the house, because that's when parties happen and bad things go down, right? You know, so
especially when the kid is a genocidal maniac.
Yeah. So yeah, it just didn't. I don't feel like they're thinking this through. Things that they should be able to fix or do better. You know what I mean? It's all very strange. Just very strange to me.
Danny, what did you think of Girardi's plot in this episode?
Well, the way they set it up previously, I wasn't actually surprised by Girardi being asleep, because isn't that where like Picard left her? Like he took her there.
No, she was
like,
on the ship.
For some reason, I thought for some reason it was like they couldn't get the heat to work, even though the cloaking device works.
Well, if you remember, Girardi had to go back on the ship to teleport Raffi and Seven away from their police officer chase.
Right.
So
yeah, so it lazy writing is what I kind of boiled it down to. They needed her to be able to be alone so she could do that gimmick with the cell towers and call the cop, and I thought it was amusing that she used a shotgun, which normally has a wide spread of when buckshot or whatever usually, but it was pretty pinpoint accurate and didn't hurt the guy that the Borg Queen was holding. So little things like that kind of bothered me. I did like the reveal. I liked how they held it off till the end of the show, though.
Love that.
The Borg Queen actually did.
You guys didn't see that coming? You didn't see that coming?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say I didn't see it coming. I just thought it was going to be, more like she was. You could tell she wanted to be, in a weird way. It seemed like Girardi wants to be assimilated. It just kind of, over the past couple episodes, that was the vibe I was getting from her. And so when she killed her and made the statement that I might have just ruined our way home without the reveal until later, I was like, well, Dan, I guess she's not going to get assimilated after all. And then they showed that, and I watched the trailer for next week's episode, and I'm somewhat intrigued by how you put, like what you said, like the Tyler Durden thing. I think that could be interesting. She definitely is not my least favorite part of the show anymore, whereas season 1 she was definitely my least favorite part of the show. So as far as Girardi goes, those are my comments for that, I guess.
So I got a question for the panel before we get Brian's thoughts on this. If the ship could access cell towers on the planet, why did they need their communicators? Couldn't they have just like literally called each other and been in contact?
Well, the communicators are just easier to use for them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't have Verizon.
But the communicators didn't work, right?
No. Just the numbnuts just left it behind or something.
Yeah. I don't know. There's
Joining
Salty.
us, Salty
Hey,
Trekker.
I'm so sorry, guys.
It's all right.
Oh, hey, I like the shirt. Secret Wars, right?
He was up all
Yes, sir.
night watching the Highlander.
Oh man, yes, I was.
All right. So, Brian, what were your thoughts on Girardi's storyline in this episode?
Assimilate me harder, baby. No, straight up. So I did sort of see the twist coming a little bit, but to be honest, I didn't see it going down like that. When she shot the queen off screen, and the crew shows up and she's covered in blood, my first reaction is their reaction should be, "What did you do to Picard?" Because they left her with Picard. They come back and she's covered in blood holding a shotgun, and there's no Picard.
And she has a
considering
history
her
of
past,
murdering.
I'm just saying, considering her past,
She's a murder doctor.
yeah.
Murder
But
doctor.
I thought that maybe she just shot the queen or whatever, and maybe they were gonna bring the queen back because that one moment she was sort of assimilated at one point. Maybe there's some little nano probes left behind or something. But I loved the way she sort of slyly did it with the cheek and all that. Of course, Girardi, it was a bad idea, bro. You shouldn't get so close to the dying queen. But I think that she was so into the assimilation the first time because she's a broken person. Like, she's a broken human being.
Yeah.
And so I don't think she's fully thinking, like, when she's sleeping in the chateau, like she's half in the bag drunk. She's just sort of, going through the motions. And so it totally makes sense that, she would make poor decisions like that. And to be frank, I'm glad that she's part of, she's Tyler Durning or whatever you said with Girardi, because I love the queen. I love the actress that's playing the queen. I love the way everything about the queen so far this season is great. The whole like, how did you know she had the be able to voiceover power or whatever? I don't know, but I can totally see that being something the board can do. Data can do it.
Yeah, that didn't bother me really.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I'm sorry to break in, but we got to take care of this really quick.
Sure.
Super chat.
Mexican Iron Man, our benevolent Mexican Iron Man. This show brought to you by Mexican Iron Man. Hey, $10. Thanks, man. I'm here for my weekly Star Trek therapy. Hi, my name is Mike, and my Trek fan life has become totally unmanageable. Hashtag Star Trek Anonymous Meeting. Yeah. Okay. Get it. Totally get it. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Mexican Iron Man. I appreciate that, man, a lot.
So,
So
Brian.
we're Trekkies Anonymous.
Sorry,
now.
Brian.
So, Brian, do you have anything more to say about Girardi's little subplot?
Yeah, I do. One more thing. The twist at the end, even if it, I don't think it was as telegraphed as you're making it. I think it worked. And I liked seeing the camera sort of pan over her and then show the queen, because in my opinion, I'm like, okay, great. We're going to get more of the queen, not just the queen talking in her head or something, but actually like the actress playing the queen, which they could have just copped out and had it as a voice in her head. The fact that they went that route is commendable, I think.
All right, so Michael, we were
Yes.
talking about Girardi's subplot in the show where she basically fucked off to Chateau Picard, leaving the Queen unsupervised, allowing the Queen to access cell phone towers and call the police. She
Right.
then shows up, shoots the Queen with a shotgun, and then gets close enough to allow the Queen to implant her consciousness into her. And now she is basically the heir apparent for the Borg Queen. What did you think of this subplot?
I thought it was. I'm still going down the path of this is. I love the fact that they've actually used Girardi much better this season than last season. So, and this is continuing that trend. I think that having her screw up is not out of character for her. She is kind of a screw up character, and in fact, honestly, I thought with the big thing, like with the blood and everything, I thought she shot the cop. I thought it was going to be a mercy killing, like she was going to kill the cop to prevent him from getting assimilated. And then when it turned out she actually murdered the queen, I was like, okay, double down on murder, doctor.
Was it weird that the blood was red? That was kind of weird to me.
Well,
To be the queen.
we don't know what species the queen was originally, so
Fair enough.
True. Yeah.
that I didn't really think about that. I just could have been literally any color.
I did sort of think it would be the cop too, and I was like, murder doctor, gonna be murder doctor.
I thought Borg's blood was either black or dark green.
Well, but the thing about
Borg
Borg is the Borg are made up of every species and plus
but they have those
nanoprobes and-
nanoprobes in their blood, which changes
Right.
its color, right?
Well,
Well, they
sometimes
did.
yes, sometimes no. It depends on
Depends on who's writing the episode.
who's
No, I
writing the
didn't.
episode and what
It
show
didn't
you're
change
on.
Locutus's blood color.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
just depends on what you're watching and who's writing and all that. I mean, it's Trek,
Okay. Yeah.
and so, but her killing the queen, I thought was an unexpected and good move. But I also, and I do think that while I wasn't like, whoa, when we find out that, okay, the queen got a little bit in her. But at the same time, I thought it was a good move moving forward, that it's like, okay, the queen ain't out of the picture yet. And that opens up the possibility that the queen at the Battle of the Anomaly is, in fact, Girardi.
Yes.
And so that's another one that we had none of us considered up until this point. And how many of us were like, oh, it's 100% it's Picard's mom, or 100% it's 7 of 9. Now a lot of people are going, well, maybe it's Girardi. Maybe
Right.
so it's actually got people kind of guessing in different directions, and that's a good thing at this point in a series like this.
All right, so I felt like the whole Girardi thing was very plot contrivance. I hate her character more and more the more I see her. Like it's okay to have a character that screws up occasionally because everyone screws up, but when you have a character this insufferable who screws up constantly and I don't know, like every time she's on screen, I just want to turn the show off. But that's just me. So, Brian, last week you talked about a throwback to the original series that you thought about, who the Laris the Watcher was looking for. And they actually mentioned that in this episode.
Yep.
You were right.
Yep.
Look at that.
Yep.
I will
to,
eat some
you want to
crow.
you want to expand
I
on
said
that?
I didn't believe it. I will eat crow on that.
Yeah.
No, I agreed with Brian as well last week. So yeah. It was...
Yeah. I don't want to be cocky here, but I make a lot of Star Trek videos. So
You're allowed.
what I normally do is I throw all the theories at the wall, and when like 1% of them stick, I look like a god. Even though the 99% that didn't stick, everyone forgot about.
So who was the character that was mentioned in this that you theorized was kind of related to it?
Gary 7.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of reasons. It was the whole cat thing reference, the shape of the teleporter.
Yeah, the door shape thing.
Yeah. I thought it was an interesting foreshadowing when she was like, she might bite your eyelids off.
Oh,
Like,
is Laris a cat?
I think she's a shapeshifter. And I think the reason she looks like Laris, I mean, obviously it's because the actress is on contract, so it's cheaper just to use the same actress. But in canon, it's probably because she took that form that was familiar to Picard. I think that's what she did. I think she's a shapeshifter like Isis.
Or is
Okay.
it one of those things where she met Picard like this in the timeline, and so she just continued that later on down the road because she was, she followed the Picard line as a watcher.
That's a cool idea too.
That's cool.
Like she's actually Laris. She's actually Laris in the future, but she just doesn't remember that yet because it hasn't happened yet.
Or maybe, yeah, it hasn't happened yet, but she remembers it back when she's trying to bang Picard as an old man synthetic.
Right.
So, which reminds me, Danny, you said you saw the trailer for next week's episode.
Yes.
So at the end of that trailer, we see Picard kind of sprawled out, bleeding.
I thought he was a synthetic. You know,
do synthetics bleed human blood?
I this whole I don't know. That
Do
was
robots
really,
stream of electric sheep?
right. I mean, I don't know. It seemed very weird to me, and like, how am I supposed to be? Like, it seems like that's one of those things they do to try to get you to watch the episode, but then it's like, I have first of all, the show's called Picard, so I don't think you're going to kill him, and second of all, he's a synthetic, so like,
It's
I don't
synthetic
know.
blood.
There's so many workarounds. Like, oh yeah, there's the tease. He might be mortally wounded, but then like if you just think for a moment, he's Picard, so he has massive amounts of plot armor.
Yeah.
So he's basically invulnerable, and he has a robot body. So even if he is wounded, I think he'll be fine, guys.
Yeah.
He'll be okay.
He'll be okay.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was cooler to see at the end of this episode. I liked how funny it was where Girardi tries to get a beer, and then as soon as she does, like that dude swoops her up. I thought that was funny.
So one of the things that really annoyed me about this episode, and I want to get all your thoughts on it, is that for the past 2 episodes, we had a huge amount of time devoted to Thelma and Louise, aka Raffi and Seven, running around trying to rescue Rios, who is in the detention center about to be disappeared across the border. And it was a big part of the previous 2 episodes. And in this episode, they basically bring that storyline to an end, where Thelma and Louise save Rios.
Yep.
And then they fuck back off to the spaceship. And it's like none of that mattered. There was no kind of impact to the plot of that little escapade having happened. So do you think that this is going to play into something later on in the series, or was that just something where they were like, we don't know what to do with these characters, so we're going to put them on their little side quest, and that's going to be that? Vader, what do you think of that?
I think at some point in the next couple episodes, maybe his homies will come back and rescue him out of a dicey situation or something, and he can, like, you know, they can all speak in Spanish to each other again and make some really cool scenes for no reason whatsoever. And yeah, man, it just, the whole thing was just very contrived, and it felt like it was just a huge insert so they could give us some kind of not so subtle lecture about the crisis on the border and everything that's going on down there, you know. So yeah, it's just silly. I don't see how that had any point to do with the story of the overall actual story, other than to give them some kind of way to preach at us about the evils of people coming into the country that shouldn't.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know, man. It's dumb. It's very dumb.
So Danny, what did you think of the whole Thelma and Louise storyline?
I'll actually be surprised somewhat pleasantly in a way if Vader's right and some of these dudes do come back. But I actually just think this was their way of just inserting some social message, and it's over with.
Yep.
You know, that's kind of, I don't think there's going to be any more to that.
Yep.
At all. That's just what I think. So
Brian, you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys recall last week, I pretty much said that. I said best case scenario, we got the two sermons out of the way, and now we can move on with the story. And yeah, you're right. They didn't accomplish anything didn't that group, Rios and Thelma and Louise, accomplished nothing for 2 episodes. Nothing.
Didn't even get his communicator back, which how's that might affect some stuff.
Yeah, so they ran off the ship in a hurry because Rafi's pissed because Eleanor died. She runs down there. Seven follows her. They get separated because they transport without any plan. And they run around LA, causing trouble, breaking cop cars, going on chases, breaking people out of jail, and then go back to, and literally, while they're wasting 2 episodes, Picard casually strolls into 10 forward and solves the problem.
It was basically just B plot while the story was about Picard meeting Guinan, meeting the Watcher. That was the real story, but unfortunately they spent a little more plot time on B plot than they should have. But now that little B plot is done with, hopefully, we're done with that B plot, except for that maybe they're going to bring 2 Mexicans to the future to repopulate the species and bring the Doctor with them to complete the Star Trek 4 arc.
I think the
But-
Doctor is going to go back. I think that's why that
Yeah.
communicator is still
Yeah.
out there. Gives him an excuse to go back and see her.
Right.
You know.
And that's about the extent of it. I think that maybe the Doctor, because Rios and the Doctor had a thing, and maybe Rios is going to be a little tired of Doctor murdering everybody, and now that she's going to probably be a Borg anyway. He doesn't like tentacles.
Well,
or something.
did you see what happened in the commercial though? Like she kisses him.
Mike, that the whole Borg thing, red dress, that adds to it for me.
Well, to you, but you're into tentacles.
That's true.
He likes hentai.
That's true.
Yeah.
Once you've gone hentai, regular chicks just don't work anymore.
Yeah,
it's rough. I suggest not going down that path.
Yeah.
Once you get probed, I don't know what rhymes with probe that fits there, but
You don't put back on the robe.
Yeah.
All right, so we had the Thelma and Louise plot that basically went nowhere for 3 whole episodes.
Right.
But the other thing I wanted to talk about was the return of Dr. Singh. So we get
I thought it was soon.
soon. So we get Brent Spiner, who comes back, and it turns out his actual daughter is a very masculine-looking Soji, and she has some type of genetic defect where she can't even go out into the outdoors because a speck of dust will cause an allergic reaction of some type.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
And so like that's his motivation for trying to perfect genetics, is to save his daughter. And we find out that Q is kind of manipulating him in some weird way, which I think is I think the whole Renee Picard thing is a red herring. This is actually the thing that changes the future. So what did you think of that plot line, Michael?
I think Q has a 2-pronged approach, to be honest. I think that so I think Renee Picard is part of it. So I do think that because they mentioned Renee Picard and something about discovering potential life on one of the moons of Jupiter.
Io.
Io. Thank you. And so so I think that discovery basically put a halt on certain types of genetic research. And so what Q's trying to do is stop that, combined with pushing forward Soon's research to cause the Confederation. However, in order to make sure the Confederation happens, he needs to make sure that A, she doesn't make the discovery, and B, Soon's research gets pushed forward. And so I just think it's a two-pronged approach. And that also makes for extra plot things for Picard and the gang to have to deal with. And so I don't think that it's a red herring. I think that it's just 2 things they have to deal with, because Q obviously is not just betting everything on one thing.
I think it's more complex than that.
Yeah.
So Brian, what are your thoughts on the Dr. Soon subplot?
Yeah, I like it. I like seeing Brent Spiner. Brent Spiner has gotten better at acting with age, and that doesn't always happen. So it's interesting that I have loved him so much more over the years, but he is showing his acting chops this season. And for the subplot, I still do not think that that Q is the bad guy. I think that's too obvious. So, I wouldn't put it past the writers. I can totally see them just being super obvious and just like us being disappointed. But I think it's too obvious.
He could be doing something self-serving, but I don't think that he's straight up evil, put it that way.
Right.
So Danny, what did you think of this little plot revelation with Dr. Soon?
I love the line. So one of the things I did like about this episode was that there was a lot more Q in it, and that made me happy. And I like how he had that line about something about like how loving someone makes you weak, but if you didn't love, what kind of life would that be, or something like that, or makes everyone's hostage to something they love. You remember the part I'm talking about?
Yeah. I'll tell you exactly what he said. Everyone's
Yeah.
a hostage to what they love. To truly be free, you have to love nothing. But what would be the point of that?
What would be the point of that? Something like that, or what kind of life would that be? So I love that part. I love how they set up the motivation here. But I do think this is going to lead into what we just talked about before. It's just kind of confirming what at least Brian and I were talking about with the augments, and this leading to tying into the Enterprise episodes with whoever's going to end up being his son, because there's no way that's the same doctor that's an Enterprise, so it's going to be the next generation of
Right.
It would be like his grandson or something.
Maybe his son. I mean, grandson. It's like 100 years, so yeah, probably his grandson. So I think that's just kind of like this the little seedling for what's going to end up being the augments. But remember, the eugenics wars are supposed to be going on.
Well, the eugenics wars happened.
They already happened.
In
They already happened.
1986.
Yeah. So
I actually have a theory that if you're looking at Picard, it appears that the eugenic wars probably didn't happen on American soil. They probably happened
Right.
like a lot of wars do elsewhere.
Oh yeah, like because Khan's supposed to be of what, Indian descent, I believe.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
on
got
Indian
those
thing.
chiseled Indian Spanish, features, or
Yeah.
English, depending on
Ricardo
which time.
Montalban.
Khan, Nooney, and Singh, you can't get much more Indian than that.
Here's
Yeah.
an interesting thing
That
too about
Indian Latino look.
Yeah.
Dr. Soong. It seems like the Dr. Soons that we were aware of were sort of like I don't want to say malicious, I guess, malicious, sort of not bad guys or good guys, but definitely their work caused a lot of problems. And it clearly sort of started with this version of Soong. And I don't think his motivations are not malicious. They're not like
No, I mean
curious
it's
Right,
love
he
will
wants
make
to
you do
help
some
his
crazy
brother.
things. Yeah.
So their this whole thing starts with this guy, but his motives are very pure. Very interesting take on the character. It's very rare that an earlier character makes a character in the future better, and I think that's what's happening here.
It kind of does, because I can kind of see how like this Soong is has the good, doing it for the right. It might be doing some wrong things, but he's doing it for the right reasons, for love.
Sure.
Right? Whereas
Yeah.
like maybe his descendants, whether it starts with maybe his son or maybe doesn't start to the grandson, those maybe they come across granddad's book of
Mischievous.
stuff or whatever, and they're like, ooh, this is cool, I'm gonna do this for nefarious reasons now, or something.
Oh yeah,
like
the end just been means. Yeah. You know that
That
old quote.
scamp.
Remember that old quote where it's like, good. Sometimes good men do bad things for good reasons, and like,
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
the road
what
to
we're seeing
hell
here.
was paved with
with
good
good
intentions.
intentions. Yeah, my mom said that
So-
all the time.
So, Vader, what did you think of the whole Soong subplot? And also, don't you think that they kind of butched up Issa Briones, who played like his daughter? Because I remember last season she was very feminine, and
Yeah.
in this episode she almost looked like a little boy.
I had to. Well,
No,
that seems to be a thing Star Trek does a lot these days. But
Right, just look at those character releases.
yeah, we'll get there here in a little bit. But I don't know. I think these guys kind of covered that whole thing pretty well. My whole thing was can Spiner play anything other than a Soong? Why do we always have to have
He can play Data.
why did we always have to have a Spiner come in and play a relative of his dad?
I mean, what else? What else is he gonna play though?
I don't know. Get a different actor. I mean, why do we have to have Spiner coming back for everything?
But why not?
Because
It's
they're
Brent
obsessed with
Spiner.
Spiner. That's
I don't know. It just seems. I know it's a Star Trek thing. It just seems very weird to me.
That's
I
like
mean,
saying why have Scott
it's-
Bakula on the new Quantum Leap?
if he's playing the same character, then it'd be fine. But I don't look like my dad. My dad doesn't look like his dad. His
Right.
dad doesn't look like his
not as a
400-year-old
clone anyway.
relative.
I mean, because they all
It's
look
just-
exactly
I don't know,
the same.
that kind of stuff just kind of gets to me. And look, I get it. It's Spiner's going to play a Soong. It's going to play every Soong it's ever going to be in Star Trek until he dies, and that's fine. I'm not really complaining. It just seems kind of funny to me. That's all.
You know what? And on that note, what they could do, and this would be an interesting Star Trek retcon. What if all the Soons are clones?
Oh,
That'd be interesting.
oh,
Sure.
starting with this one.
Yeah,
That would be amazing, actually.
yeah. I mean, and that would actually kind of be cool. What if every Soon is like, and in fact, it could start with the daughter. Like the daughter dies, and he's like, I can't let the family line end with this, and so he clones himself.
Oh my God, that would actually make older episodes better somehow. Wow, that's a great idea, Mike.
So see, I'm a genius.
So did you guys all notice Leah Thompson's little cameo in this episode?
Yeah,
with
on the
Soong?
panel. Yeah.
Yeah, Marty McFly's mom,
Yep.
trying to keep him from messing with the time stream.
Well,
Still sort of hot, man.
she directed the last episode, right?
Last 2 episodes.
Last 2 episodes.
Yeah, you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, usually sometimes when I unplug it does that, but
And this
I actually wrote that as a note.
We're
And
just
this
ignoring you as well.
and this episode was directed by Jonathan Frakes.
Number 1.
Yes.
So, I mean, can you guys tell the difference in the quality of the show
Oh, God,
between
yes.
him and the other ones?
It's surprisingly competently directed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
I actually wrote that on Twitter.
And I have to say that because I'm not a fan of Jonathan Frakes' direction, to be honest.
Wow.
So
Wow.
It's fine, but halfway through the episode, I was like, "Oh my God!" It's very obvious that this person, Jonathan Frakes, knows how to
He's an
direct
experienced
Star
director.
Trek.
Yeah.
His experience, and I don't want to talk. I don't want to throw shade at Leah Thompson, whatever, but I don't think she is a experienced director.
Right.
At least not with this medium.
No, I would totally agree with that. I did want to say while I was on the phone, I got a friend swinging by who's going to say hi, but my dad and I do kind of like Vader was saying, like he doesn't look like his dad. It's sometimes it's different. Like the older I get, and it scares me. Like right now, shaved like this, I like, especially when I had the mustache. My dad had a mustache growing up. We look way more alike than I'd like us to. But I heard Michael's dude. Like if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be mad now that you wrote something better than they're going to put out, because that makes total sense, the cloning thing. So, anyways, I just wanted to mention those things that I heard while I was gone.
So one of the things in this episode is we get to see Laris's spy cams, basically following Penelope Mitchell's Renee Picard around. And when she's showing this to Picard, it's so obvious that it's Q doing a bad Freudian accent.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And it's like Picard's like, wait a minute, give me another angle on the psychiatrist. And it's like supposed to be this big reveal, but like everyone who was watching that, from the minute they heard the voice, they're like, yeah, that's Q. So what did you guys think of the Watcher's kind of like weird voyeuristic spy cam setup, and Q's reveal that he's like basically trying to talk Renee out of going on the mission?
Can I go first? Can I go first real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Because that line that Picard said, "How dare you invade his privacy?"
Right. See, that's what I was.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to bring
Oh,
up.
man.
And I said to myself, I don't know, John Luke. Her name is the Watcher.
Yeah.
I feel like privacy is the last of her concerns.
I liked her reaction, though. Yeah.
This is the way it is.
I mean, I do want to say really quick, and I know Brian talked about this a little bit earlier. For one quick moment, I want to give the people who run this show a little bit of credit, okay? Because I thought it was really cool that they went so far, such a deep cut to original series and bringing it back to Watchers to kind of go into this show. That I thought that was really neat. It's just like I haven't watched that episode in probably 25, 30 years, and I want to go back and rewatch it when I got an extra hour to spend. But yeah, it's cool. I like how they did that.
Let me add to that, Vader, is that kind of like what you were saying, as far as if they followed my advice and did the Soong cloning thing and how that would make some episodes with Soong better. This would make an episode of the original series that, quite frankly, I think is subpar, Assignment Earth, and make it a much better episode.
Yeah.
And so I think that would be cool. And in fact, one of the things that I noticed, because I'm such an original series geek, is I was freaking out about the fact that she had the big safe door in her apartment. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but she had a big iron door in the back of her apartment, which is exactly where Gary 7 had. And little things like that. And I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and-
Another
ahead,
little
Brian.
quick note. I noticed, I saw it on Reddit actually. The keys on her keypad are in Romulan,
I did not notice that. Oh wow.
which is I don't know if that's if that's like
didn't pick
an
up on
Easter
that.
egg or if it actually means something.
I do not think she's a shapeshifter, though, whoever was saying that.
Yeah.
I was just trying to come up with a theory that works. Like ISIS was a shapeshifter.
I think
maybe.
no, I think she's a human.
Okay.
Just like Gary 7 was human.
Yeah,
Seven.
Gary 7 was a human. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she's an agent trained just like Gary 7. And because remember, Gary 7's saying they're trained generationally to basically infiltrate and manage human affairs. I think she's just like Gary 7. Because didn't Gary 7 hold the rank of supervisor as well?
Yeah. That's
And,
what prompted
and
Picard
so,
to
yeah,
say
I'm going to have to rewatch Assignment Earth now. That's definitely my to-do
There's nothing
list
wrong
for
with that.
this.
It's got Terry Garr in it. So,
Yeah.
you know.
So if she's same rank as Gary, it would make sense that she was also a human infiltrator. But Gary, it would make sense that Laris is her descendant.
Yeah, so maybe Laris is part human.
Yeah, and so Laris probably works for that super advanced alien race as well.
Which is super cool.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if you really want to get into deep cut fan theories, are they related to something like from the weird 10C or something like that? Who knows?
The Iconians. That's everyone always says the
yeah.
Iconians.
Iconians. I
Well,
wonder.
because they have the
I
gateway.
get so sick of hearing about the Iconians. The
I
Iconians.
know, but Mike, they have the same gateways. Like it's
No,
it's literally like,
that's just because the Iconians use square gateways. So what?
I'm just saying, like, if you want me to have a theory on who did the supervisor nonsense, all right. Well, the only race I know that has similar tech that can transport instantaneous with a square gateway thing is the Iconians. I don't know of another race, so either it's them or it's someone else, right?
Right.
I don't.
The problem is
people use
that,
the
the
Iconians a lot.
Iconians, from everything that we could tell, were wiped out.
So Danny, what did you think of the reveal that Q was the psychiatrist?
Oh, I thought that was it was just like you. I mean, I literally said out loud, like the second I heard him talking, oh, that's Q. Like I literally said that out loud. So it wasn't really much of a, it was kind of obvious.
Not a reveal as much as a duh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I guess it was more of like a reveal to Picard,
Yeah.
Vader, what are your thoughts on that scene?
Which scene?
The one where Picard discovers that Q is pretending to be his ancestor's psychiatrist.
Well, I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny, to be honest with you. I mean,
Yeah.
we all immediately knew it was Delancey doing a really bad
Sigmund
accent.
Freud. Yeah.
Freud, yeah.
Did you guys notice that in this episode, especially with his dealings with Soong, that Q was making a reference that he's unable to do things his normal way, and so he's having to be a little bit more manipulative and proactive and alternative methods?
He also referenced his overwhelming concern with time and how he seems to be running out of it. Like I think he's dying. I think-
Yeah.
Right, and that goes back to, is it him or is it the continuum?
Yeah.
And,
one of the two.
yeah,
And
and I like the fact that we still don't know the answer to that.
Love it. Love it.
I'm still assuming they stick the landing with the series. If they don't go sideways like they did in season 1 with the episode Shattered, as long as they don't go sideways like they did in season 1, this season is still shaping up to be a decent
Yeah,
season.
I think they've already gone sideways
Of course
2
you
episodes
do.
ago.
I saw the name of this live stream. And it's like, well, I know what Matt thinks.
Well, I mean, like, so if you put aside the 2 useless B-roll episodes,
Yeah.
we're still on track. Like nothing's changed.
I don't know
Yep.
about that. I feel like the contemporary setting is really detracting from the feel of this show. Like it doesn't feel like Star Trek right now.
I'll agree with you there. I think that the less time spent in the 21st century, the better. I would like to see them get back to the, I would have liked to have seen 4 episodes of them trying to get out of the Confederation, rather than 4 episodes of zany antics.
Yeah, the Confederation thing and with all the Space Californians was very cool. I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Very good. Thank you for adopting Space Californians. I appreciate it.
So at the end of this episode, once Picard kind of figures out that his ancestors kind of like the most special woman ever that history revolves around, he goes back to the ship, and it suddenly becomes an Ocean's 11 movie where they're like, we have to break it, we have to break into this party, and we have to find Renee, and we have to convince her to go on this mission. So what did you guys think of like the sudden shift from a mystery plot of like how are they going to fix the future to a Ocean's 11 heist plot, essentially?
I was waiting for the music to pop up. You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
Brian.
No, I was waiting for that music to pop up.
Okay, so one of the things that I thought was kind of amusing was when they were planning all this whole thing was how they were doing the Ocean's 11 thing and how they were going to break in and everything. And then they go, and then there's the facial recognition, and then they show the screen with all the little squares going around people's faces and stuff for the faces. And I have to laugh because I don't know what you guys all know that I do for a living, but I work in the surveillance world, right? That shit is real. Okay. But, and it looks just like it looks on their screen. But the technology is so bad. It's about 10% hit on the biometrics hit. I mean, we get alerts all the time, and I can't go too into depth because I'll probably get fired if somebody's watching this. But it's a terrible technology, but they were really close on this thing with the way it was working. But it's not there. But you have to put people into it for it to be able to hit off of. So if you've got people coming in that is not in the system, it's not going to work. So it's very. I had to laugh at the tech that they were using for this big fancy party that they were.
Aren't they all microchipped so like they can like read?
That was the first part of it. The first part was the microchip. Yeah. The second part was the facial recognition.
Right.
So so they like get their chip scanned. So and that's only 2 years in the future apparently.
This is not our future.
Oh yeah, no.
This is this is not our reality.
Well, this kind of goes back to the fact that this is a show made by the same people that bring you shows like NCIS.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, in the real world, it's really funny to me when people go, "Hey man, I lost my wallet. Can you like figure out who lost my wallet?" And they think we can just like dial up some satellite out in space and beam it in with 1 million times enhancement lens, and we can get their driver's license number off and stuff. And it doesn't work that way. And it's just the artistic license that these people take is hilarious to me. So yeah, I look at scenes like that with a whole different lens.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Matt, since I worked for Verizon Wireless for a number of years, and I would talk to people all the time. Well, I have to destroy the SIM card to avoid getting tracked by the government. And it's like the SIM card is a piece of plastic. It's nothing more than a piece of plastic with a serial.
Turn the phone off, dude. Jesus.
Yeah. Turn the phone off. You're fine. But the government's going to turn the phone off. But the government turn the phone off.
Yeah, whenever you see those movies where they're like, "Give me your phone," and they throw it out the window, you're like, "Why would you do that?
You just threw away $1,200. Just turn the phone off.
Turn it off."
We can't use. We have to destroy the credit cards or they'll track it. Just don't use them.
So true.
The actual plot for this heist is basically they can't access the computers remotely. Although somehow they're able to access it just enough to get Girardi's identification faked. And then she has to sneak in and find a hard access to the server so that she can put everyone else's information in there so that they can get in to get to Renee. So-
that part actually makes sense. The computer's
But-
air gapped.
Yeah, but how were they able to get Girardi's stuff on there?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because
no,
they wouldn't be.
Talim said she had one ID that they can use, one chip.
Yeah,
Talim, that's
say-
Loris.
she did say-
Loris.
Here's something I've been just wanting to say for the past few minutes is like this goes back to what you guys were saying earlier about not feeling like Star Trek and it needs to get back into space and like the contemporary stuff being terrible, because that's why they're doing all these other tropes. Like back to when somebody said that it's the same studio that's doing NCIS. Like I don't watch those shows. I watch Star Trek, and this doesn't feel like Star Trek, and I just can't wait for them to get back into
Right.
space. And I find myself, I was very happy because that was some of my biggest complaints the previous two episodes. Like Q was hardly in it. I really liked how much more Q was in this one, and I hope they're going to keep that going forward. So yeah, that's all I want to say about that.
So Brian, what did you think of the whole Ocean's 11 plot line?
Well, I mean, Picard has a plan. So
If he uses that French accent again,
yeah. I will physically harm my.
At least none of them dressed up like pimps.
maybe that's why they saw him knocked unconscious, because he used the French accent and somebody got pissed off.
So I like the idea of the computer being air gapped. That's been a very classic form of security since computers existed, right? Since the internet existed.
Yeah.
That's a pretty common thing. I totally get that. And they're worried about like the super facial recognition. If they beam in, they're gonna get found out. They're not supposed to be there. So I guess that all explains that away. I do think maybe it's a plot device to give us more episodes of television.
Yeah.
But all of it is, at the very least, all of it is. I can buy it. I can buy it even if it's.
I also
plotty.
I'm starting to think that like the more I think about the episode and the trailer for the next one where Picard's down, I'm thinking maybe that's a little misdirection, like a red herring, because like maybe that's a part of a plan for them to.
Well, like Girardi getting
cause a
caught
direct
was part of the
distraction.
plan.
So maybe like Picard's gotta, like he can look like that and like bleed, but he's not going to really die. So it's like, oh my God, get help, and they like maybe it's a distraction.
Well, we're gonna
How
find out.
about that Newport Beach reference though?
Yeah.
What was the Newport Beach reference?
They were like, why is she handcuffed to the chair? And the guy was like, they consider her a threat or something. And she's like, she's probably just a Karen from Newport Beach.
Yeah.
Newport Beach is like a ridiculously
yeah, and I know where Newport
yeah.
Beach is.
but it's a weird reference. Shane said this. They should have said like if they wanted to be in SoCal, they should have said like Orange County, because everyone
Right.
knows what Orange County is, but
Yeah.
few people know the suburb, the inside, in Newport Beach inside of Orange County, that little subsection. Like,
Right.
it's very interesting. It's like,
So one of the interesting facts that they let slip in this episode, I thought, was that Renee Picard is actually like Picard's great aunt.
Right.
Not a direct descendant, but the actress who plays her, Penelope Mitchell, she's gorgeous. Like I was like, dang, like Picard's ancestor is pretty hot.
So you got the hots for Picard, is what you're saying?
For Renee Picard, yeah, sure.
I mean,
one of the
Picard can get it.
One of the things I wanted to mention here, so Joey says they're courting the NCIS crowd now, hoping they get someone to watch it, even though they just canceled like 7 series. And we actually had a news story come out with Chris Pine where he was quoted about the Star Trek movie. And he said that everyone at the studio was so obsessed with getting like $1 billion off of like this franchise. They're like, $1 billion. And he said that it makes more sense to him, at least, to make Star Trek movies that cater to the Star Trek fan base. And who cares if it makes $1 billion as long as like it makes a profit and it makes the fans happy.
Right.
I thought that was very telling. I thought that like, I wish studio executives thought that way.
Right.
Right. Star Trek can be profitable, but they shouldn't try to make it Star Wars.
Well, the thing that made the Star Trek movies profitable in the first place is they were able to keep them to budgets of around 30 million.
Right.
And they would always consistently make double or triple what that budget was. And it wasn't until they started doing the Next Generation movies where they ballooned up those budgets and they started to see like the return on investment go down. So, but what do you guys think of that? Do you think that the movies should be like a little bit more focused on the fan base as opposed to trying to be like these huge blockbuster franchises.
I think the movies should not exist. Period.
Are you talking about the Kelvin movies?
I think that the Star Trek films should simply cease to exist. I think that they should focus on episodic television. They should focus on doing 20 episode seasons, and they should focus on it being actual Star Trek based on the Star Trek franchise, not based on the Twitter generation. And if they would do that, they will make money. They will get subscribers to Paramount Plus. And you know what? If they want to then start making Star Trek films based on these, and they want to make low budget films like, you know, in the modern era, 40, $50 million films, and then turn around and make $300-400 million on the film and not worry about making $1 billion per film, fine. But for right now, just focus on making Star Trek into Star Trek again.
Well, so the numbers, I mean, I agree with you, but they're not going to do that because they are making a mint on Star Trek right now. I know that we haven't liked Discovery. Last season, Picard wasn't good. Doesn't seem like they would be, but
I think they're making a ton of money. I think they are.
This last quarter, they signed up 7.5 million subs to Paramount Plus. Mm-hmm. They have quadrupled their numbers since CBS All Access came out.
I don't know if that was Star Trek though, Brian, because those Yellowstone shows are like extremely popular. Right
also, Halo.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
You're right, but they have metrics. If they're continually going all in on Star Trek, there must be some metrics there.
Right. That's the thing. They're not telling us how many views are going to what shows. That's something that they'll never tell us. But the simple fact that they're pumping millions upon millions of dollars into new Trek shows. Those Yellowstone shows, they may be popular, but they ain't expensive.
Right.
No, but those Yellowstone shows, and I know this isn't, we're getting a little off topic here, but those Yellowstone shows bring in people like my wife. Mm-hmm. These Star Trek shows just bring in nerds like us, but those Yellowstone shows bring in normal people, and they're extremely popular. And I think they've signed. Maybe Matt can fact check me, but I think they've signed the creator of those Yellowstone shows, so like a multi-series deal. There's the Jeremy Renner show that he does. He's got, I think, 2 or 3 different Yellowstone prequels in the works.
Right. He's doing one with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, I mean, those things bring in the normal populace, the non-nerds.
You're right, man, but I think you're underestimating how many.
Look, I go to a Star Trek convention, and there's 13 people in the Discovery line and 600 in the line for the obscure Next Generation actor.
Right,
People
but you're
don't
forgetting
like this Discovery shit.
But you're forgetting something, Matt. The NCIS crowd that's watching Discovery doesn't go to conventions.
Yeah, but they buy Paramount subs.
Right,
so,
but they're not going to the convention. So you see 13 people in line because the 13 million people that are watching it aren't going to the convention.
I guarantee you, if there was a Yellowstone convention, there would be 6 million people go to this thing to get.
Yeah, it's a different type of people.
But we're talking about Paramount here. We're talking about why Paramount's getting subs, and it's not all because of Star Trek. In fact, I would say Star Trek has the smaller side of that.
I don't think it's all.
I will say that the numbers for Paramount Plus, they include subscribers to Showtime, which they're kind of like folding into it, and also they do that whole like free like sign up for first month for free.
Right.
And so that kind of pads the numbers as well. But, Star Trek, they launched their service with Star Trek Discovery because they know that the hardcore Trek fan base is going to be there. And the reason that they keep pumping out new Star Trek is because they want to keep those people subscribed instead of unsubscribing. So I think that the foundation for their streaming service is with Star Trek. But I think Vader has a point where like the growth is in these other shows that are bringing in the normies. I guess you could say that.
If that were the case, I don't think we'd be looking at Strange New Worlds right now.
Well, they've got a bunch of stuff. But speaking of Strange New Worlds, Vader, a lot of new character trailers came out this week talking about the cast of Strange New Worlds. Do you want to go over those so we can comment on them?
Yeah, so I've been posting. They've been releasing these little 30-second teaser trailers all week long on YouTube and the videos for Strange New Worlds, and I think they hit most of the characters. I don't know if they've done.
Was the last one Una? Because I want to make sure I see.
Yeah, that just came out this morning. about half hour before we went live. But they're all. I'm not going to play them because we'll get slammed with the copyright strikes. But I'll go ahead and share my stream. I'll just put them up, and as I go through these, let's just go ahead and comment on these things. And I'm really curious as your guys' thoughts on these characters. So, Matt, I'm going to share my screen. I apologize because I'm not very good with the tech stuff here, but so we're just gonna go with this one first. Can you guys see that all right?
Nope.
No, you can't. Okay, hold on.
You need to share the screen.
I thought I did. My bad. Share.
You guys got to use OBS. It's easier.
There we go. All right. How about now? Did we get
Now
it?
I see us.
I see us.
That's
Whoa,
weird,
look at
man. I can't take it.
Whoa, man!
Ah! Now I see us twice.
No, stop!
Oh no, that is 3 times. Oh Jesus, man, stop.
Geez.
Oh,
Come on, really? Is that really all you see?
now it's us 4 times.
No,
What
it's
the
like
hell?
19 times, dude. It just never ends.
Vader, it's showing your main monitor.
Yes,
Well, why is it doing that?
because you shared the wrong screen.
I'm a moron. Stop sharing.
While he's pulling that up, I really hope that we have a good shot of Spock's freaking eye.
Sideburns?
Oh, don't hit you.
Oh, Jesus.
Now,
So
but wait.
are we okay?
Someone told me, and I didn't catch it, but someone told me the sideburns looked more normal in another one of the trailers. So,
Instead of drawn on by Sharpie markers?
yeah.
Jeez.
So it's entirely possible that was, and this is something that and that I said as far as the sideburn thing was concerned. I want to wait and see what happens in the series. Like that could have been because since it's an episodic show, you know, maybe he had to go down to a planet of drag queens, and that was
Good point.
You know, so we don't know. That could have been for a specific adventure.
Is
Right.
it working now?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
working,
So
Vader.
now we see
All right.
the
Lieutenant
So
Ortega.
our first one up is Lieutenant Ortegas.
yes.
And I don't know anything about her. Is she like the new Chekhov? Is she the navigator?
She's the
the
pilot,
Sulu?
right?
She's the pilot.
Yeah.
Okay, and you know,
Is it correct
I'm
to
not
call
gonna-
her a she?
I don't know. I was just gonna say I'm not gonna try to get like super
Wow.
negative right off the bat here, but once
Well, just 'cause
again,
she's got short
we,
hair.
we
dang.
got the short hair, SJW shaved side of her head thing going on, and I don't like it. I don't like it when they make women look like little boys. I'm sorry, I just don't.
Okay, so
And,
I am not even making a joke right now. But when I
Yeah.
first saw like a year ago, like the character profiles, I did think that this was a masculine character. I didn't know it was a
It looks like a
Mhm.
little boy. Looks like a
I
teen
didn't
boy.
know it was a feminine character until the name popped up.
hmm So it's like I said, I don't have a problem a whole lot with the character itself. I just don't like the look that they're going with. It's like I don't know. I have a hard time. I want
What are
original
the odds?
series.
What are the odds that Ortega's is going to be a lesbian?
100%. 100%.
Or whatever non-mind or whatever you wanted to say. I forget. I forget the code word for that.
We get what you're saying, Danny.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, or go ahead.
ahead.
Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm going to wait because I have something to say about the doctor reveal clip. But,
Okay. Well, we're gonna go through all these guys
Yeah,
here. So,
yeah,
so just first, just right off the top of your head,
Mhm.
Lieutenant Ortegas. I know you guys have watched the trailer. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Do we like this character or not?
I
Go
don't know
ahead,
enough
Danny.
I-
Just your gut. Give me your gut feeling just from the 30-second clip that they showed us.
Probably
Are we
not.
going in a round robin here? Who's
Yeah,
going
we'll
first?
go Danny, then Brian, then you, then Matt. So, Brian.
Based on looks alone, I'm gonna go no.
Okay, not liking this one, Mike.
Honestly, from the trailer, I'd say not enough info.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
That's not an answer though. You got to give me.
Well, I
thumbs up or
can't
thumbs down.
give you an up or a down because I mean, all I know is she wants to be a great pilot. That's
Okay.
That's all I know about her.
Is that a trope? Is that a Star Trek trope?
Not necessarily. I mean, Sulu we knew was a great pilot,
Mm-hmm.
but this all we know about her is that from her conversation with Pike, is she wants to be a great pilot, which means she's probably new. And so to me, that could be a little bit of a positive, because I like the idea of this is a new, fresh crew as opposed to they're the best of the best. But but I don't know. Not enough info.
Okay, Matthew.
This character to me feels a lot like the non-binary character from Discovery.
Yes,
I
same kind of look.
I feel like it's a character that they're going to use to inject political messaging into the show. And so for me, that's a thumbs down.
So, okay, I got you. All right, moving on. Let's go to this guy, Mr. Hemmer. I believe Hemmer is an engineer. And Brian,
engineer, I believe.
I'm gonna go to Brian first, because I'm a little off on my lore here. So this is an Andorian from a sect that was introduced in Enterprise, correct?
Yeah, he is like a spin-off of, he's like a Andorian mutation, but yeah, it's called an Anar. Thank you.
Why don't you guys explain to us what Anars are?
Anars are telepathic Andorians who are also blind.
Yep.
They're naturally blind, but they're telepathic to make up for their blindness.
Right. So Andorians have like a low latent telepathic ability of some sort. Probably something to do with their antenna or something. But this genetic offshoot of Andorians are hyperactive with their telepathic abilities. And in Enterprise, the Romulans actually kidnapped one to help fly their experimental drone ships.
Okay. So his presence makes sense in a Star Trek world.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. It not only makes sense, but finally we're getting a nod to Enterprise. Finally.
Yeah. I like it. So I didn't know if I was gonna like this guy at first, but I kind of like the fact that he's different, and he's different from any character that we've seen yet. My initial impression was like, oh, they got a blind Daredevil-like character, but because that's basically what he's like, right? He's Daredevil. He has super sensitive, other than that he can see. So,
right.
And then I said, oh, look, a blind engineer, and then somebody immediately stamped me down on Twitter by putting Geordi's visor, and I'm like, oh, I'm a dumbass, but yeah. So thumbs up, thumbs down on this guy. I'm gonna go thumbs up. I kind of like this character.
Yeah, I gotta run for just a quick second. I'll be back. So
okay.
I'm gonna give him my just thumbs up gut reaction.
All right. Brian, you good with this guy?
Yeah, I'm stoked on this guy.
Okay.
As much as I didn't prefer the other character, I'm actually excited about this character, to be honest.
I'm with you. How about you, Salty Trekker?
I'll tell you one thing that I really liked in his 30-second trailers. One thing we got from him a little bit more than the other guys is personality. He comes across as grumpy, which I like. I want a grumpy engineer. I like grumpy engineers. And also just the idea that he's a telepath, which means that if you lie to him, he knows it. And so I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic on the ship. So yeah, big thumbs up. I'm looking forward to seeing him on the show.
Okay. Matthew?
I'm neutral.
Neutral?
Yeah.
Neutral. Okay.
I'm neutral on a lot of these characters. Like I honestly don't care.
I'm just interested in your first initial gut impressions of these guys, because that's really all we have right now. We have 30-second teasers for these people.
Well, I'm wondering, like, where's James Scott? Where was the entire crew of the Enterprise
James
different?
Scott.
Or Scotty, or whatever.
Yeah. James Scott.
Montgomery Scott.
Montgomery Scott. So what? Yeah. Weren't a lot of these people already on the Enterprise when Pike was in charge?
Yeah. So I believe so. That's the same question I have once we get to
we do have 3 crew members that were from the original series that are on here.
Yeah, but what about...
We'll get there.
Yeah, okay. All right.
All right. So moving on to the next one. Who's this one? Dr. Mbenga.
This is the one I want to talk about, yeah.
Dr. Mbenga, the doctor.
So before he went to Dune, he was a doctor on the Enterprise.
That's right.
Apparently so.
So, Danny, let's start with you. Go ahead. What are your initial thoughts on him?
him as a character, I don't mind at all. My problem is the continuity of like Dr. Philip Boyce was supposed to be there on this ship at this in this time period.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah, so that's what, and he said he specifically says he's the chief medical officer. This new character here. So, so what happened to what happened to Boyce? That's my big,
Bazinga.
Right.
yeah.
Maybe Boyce was the Dr. Pulaski.
We don't know
Maybe.
the time frame, so there's that. So
Yeah, so maybe.
It's like, yeah, I am kind of curious how much time there is before Kirk takes the ship where they're starting this. Because
Spock's a lieutenant for Pike for 14 years. You know, he says.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a
because the cage takes place 14 years prior to the menagerie, and so there's a big gap of time there.
So this could be way after that, and that's why
this could be a decade before the original series. This could be 6 months before the original series. We don't know.
Yeah. So
Well, that's interesting. So they have a really large gap of time that they could play with. So all right. So we won't be able to worry about that a whole lot. Brian, Dr. Mbenga, any thoughts on this?
Mbenga.
I have
Mbenga.
almost no opinion, but I found it funny that Shane thought it was Dr. Bazinga.
I thought that too. Every time I saw his name, I was like, Bazinga.
That's so funny. I have no opinion whatsoever.
Is it strange to you guys that he's once again a little bit quirky and he's using stuff like in the trailer? One of the jokes was he's putting some slimy shit on Spock, and we find out it's like ground up sea urchin.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's
like
Dr.
Phlox.
Yeah.
Is that kind of just like a weird like Star Trek Doctor trope as well? Like we have all this
I don't know if I call it a
medical
trope. He's the second Doctor we've seen do it.
Why not? But we have all this advanced Star Trek medicine and stuff, and we're using ground up sea urchin to treat a skin wound or something. It seems kind of strange to me that they would do that.
He's a naturopath.
I think it was just a callback to Phlox kind of thing is what I think. But
JT Gunter, I'm kind of. Is this based on the movie universe or the TV show? I'm pretty sure it's the TV show.
Yeah,
100%.
They're saying it's the prime timeline.
Yeah.
But I think that, and I've said this a million times, but I really wish they would just say this is a reboot of Trek. I really wish they would just say it.
Yeah, it'd be more interesting. But if they did that though, people would like.
I know people would. There would be a short revolution where some people will say, "No, reboot."
It would actually be It would be so much better though, because then they wouldn't.
Then we could get over the canon arguments.
Yeah, totally.
We don't have to worry about. Wait a minute. What about Dr. Boy? It's a reboot. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That
I agree with that. Actually, I think you should have just did that.
All right. So
what about James T? It's a reboot. Okay.
Yeah. So, Mike, you have any initial thoughts that you want to?
I'm actually a big pro Mbenga, and I think part of it is because I loved him in the 2 appearances he had in the original series, particularly when he was slapping Spock awake, and so I want to see more of him. And so I think having him show up as a major character is kind of cool and interesting. Having him be kind of a Phlox 2.0, I'm a little leery of. It's going to depend on how much of the natural path stuff they make him do. I hope that it's not just a full-on, he has cages with critters in him all around sick bay. If they straight up turn him into another Phlox, then I'm going to be like, this is silly. But if they just make it so that he's got a few herbs and stuff, I'm okay with it.
So I just realized then, this has to be after Dr. Boyce then, because if he's become because he was like his version of Nurse Chapel basically, and so now if he's in charge, this would be after that.
So maybe Dr. Boyce retired.
He's like retired.
Yeah, like Boyce left, and then Mbenga took over, and the intern until McCoy took over.
Do you think they have the ability to address it like in the first episode?
I have no reason.
Would he come on and say, just starting my new position as replacement for Dr. Boyce on the Enterprise and yada yada yada,
at some point, They don't even have to do it in the first episode. I mean, at some
Yeah.
point, all they have to do is say, "Man,
drop
I
that
can't-
line at
ever
dialogue,
since
yeah.
I took over from Dr. Boyce."
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be a cool callback.
That would, yeah.
Matthew, any thoughts on Dr. Mabenga?
I like the actor.
Yeah.
I do like the actor.
Yeah.
I'll have to wait and see how the show turns out, though.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. What's the next one? Oh shit. That's okay. There we go. I might miss one or two of these guys, but that's fine. Number 1. What is her name?
Una.
Is that
Which
new, or
interesting?
has it always
Una
been
is
Una?
a derivative of the word one. So
Oh, yeah. I guess it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. So,
Did
the
we
first
ever know
officer
her
of the
name
ship-
before?
no, her name was revealed in Discovery. So
Okay, sorry.
I actually kind of like that her name is Una, which is
Yeah.
literally number 1. That's cool.
Mm.
So, Danny, thoughts?
Oh, I love we've seen her already portray
Mm-hmm.
this character. I this is one of the up all the way.
Oh, notice Spock's sideburns there don't look crazy.
They
Well,
don't.
we're-
I noticed that.
We're going to get to that character in a
Yeah.
second. His sideburns are a completely entity unto themselves.
Spock burns.
Spock burns.
Spock
Yes.
burns.
So number 1, yeah, we did see her in season 2 of Discovery, right?
Yeah, I
And-
just like that. I've always liked that character, and I was, I liked having a female number 1.
I think it's safe to say that this show is the Enterprise crew sections of Discovery season 2. To me, were the only really good parts of that show.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, totally.
Which is directly responsible for the creation of this show. I think is we
Right.
Right.
As
The
Star Trek
fans
people,
wanted this show.
we're all like,
Mhm.
give us that show, right? We all
Yeah.
like Pike. Let's see what he can do for a few seasons, So
Yeah.
I'm glad they got this cast to come back. I'm not sure on Ethan Peck as Spock, but I guess he'll be okay. But
I still
any
wish
more-
they'd grow the beard back.
yeah, the beard. So you're good on number 1, Danny.
Oh yeah.
Brian, how about you, bud?
Yeah, I love Rebecca Romaine, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm down for it. As long as she's not like just like overly sassy every single episode. Like they gotta curb that a little bit.
I don't know. I like. I kind of like
I kind of like sassiness.
Says the guy who likes the murder doctor.
that. Right?
What are you gonna do? I like to be punished.
Yeah.
And just for the chat, just so you know, on YouTube they release 30-second clips of all these characters.
Yeah, you can see the
Just
clips.
over the
And
week.
some of the clips they do show some nice ship porn too.
yeah. There's some good stuff in there.
Yeah, so if you like the ship porn, there's some good looking stuff.
Yeah, and you we tweeted all out on the
Yeah.
Salty Nerd, right? Vader.
What's that? I'm sorry.
You tweeted every single one of these.
I
out.
did. Yes,
Yeah,
I did. I
yeah.
tweeted them
So
all out.
If people want to watch them, the easiest way would just be to go to the Salty
I was
Nerd.
really excited when they started releasing these this week. I was like, oh man, we got something else to talk about this week
Yeah.
on Saturday morning.
I'm
So,
telling you, I can't wait till the Saturday live streams when Strange New Worlds comes out.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I hope.
Hopefully the show will be good because
Yes.
shitting on Picard is not all that fun.
I
It's
would like.
not.
I would really like to say nice things about Star Trek. I
Yes.
really would. It sucks not.
Well,
to.
some of us are actually coming up with some nice things to say, but
Yeah,
you know.
but you really got to like really try hard, don't you?
I don't agree.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed this episode. I agree
Yeah,
with
me
you
too.
guys.
You guys are just jerks. I think.
Well, they are called the Salty Nerds. Like
That's
true.
That's the
That's
thing.
it.
True.
No, did we finish talking about this week's episode already?
No, but I think we'll get to like final
Okay.
thoughts.
No,
right?
we finished talking about Picard. We're talking
Yeah.
about
Okay.
Yeah, see, Matthew notice the name of the live stream. I think Matthew, you should change it to "Is Picard getting worse?" rather than "It's getting worse," because you're kind of making up everybody's mind there.
Bro, yeah,
Matt-
listen,
Matt-
the art of the thumbnail, you got to ask the question. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah, not
make a
just
statement.
decide for us. I mean, come on now.
Kadish is the king of clickbait. You guys don't you have no idea for real.
Worst show ever.
Matt,
So-
thoughts on number 1, Matthew?
Rebecca Romaine is very fun to look at,
Okay.
Oh, I'm into that.
and I'm into her. Yeah,
All right. So, all right, moving on.
Oh, sure. You don't ask me about her.
I didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I did already. What are your initial thoughts on?
I think they could improve her by by spray painting her blue.
Oh, yeah.
But overall, I know she's a fine actress. I think they could not cast number one better than having her. My only caveat is I will throw a shoe at the TV if she and Spock sing another Rodgers and Hammerstein song in the Turbo Lift.
Stuck in
And,
the
and,
turbo.
and I really hope that they don't bring on Jerry O'Connell for like little walk-on cameos because they're married or whatever.
You mean like just like a little thing where he's sticking his head in the door and going, Captain, you have a message coming in. Like Christian Slater.
Basically whenever Dax Shepard shows up in his wife's TV shows, it's just like, come on.
I don't think I'd have a huge problem with that. I really don't.
love Dax Shepard.
Mr. Murder Doctor likes Dax Shepard. That's
I think what would be great is if she turns out to be a changeling. That would be great since she played Mystique all those years.
That'd be super cool.
My big question about Strange New Worlds is are we going to get another Horta character on the show? Are we going to get to see another rock blob?
Well, they would have to. The problem is that then they would have to do the reboot since the Horta weren't discovered until the original.
Oh
series.
no, you're such a nerd, dude. See, I never would have. I never do that. That's funny. All right, moving on. Did everybody talk about this one? I think we did.
Yeah.
And I think we got one more, of course.
Oh, we got a couple more, don't we?
These are the only ones I got up. I don't know who else
You
we
didn't
have.
do
Oh no,
Na'an.
where's Chapel? Where's Chapel?
We have
Didn't do Chapel or not?
or Uhura. Uhura.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay.
got three. Man,
Yeah.
you're just
All right.
I think they're up in the left there on your tabs. There, the far
Yeah,
left.
but let me. I'm gonna unshare my screen really quick, and I'll go find them.
Yeah, he's got to
Because-
hide all that,
So
not appropriate content.
all
there.
that Californian feed.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, good Lord.
I don't want us to get dinged up.
So so Captain Pike's trailer released this morning as well.
Yeah.
I
Oh, did
believe.
it?
Yeah.
I missed that one.
So I think all the crew is pretty much accounted for.
Of course, the thing about Captain Pike is we've actually seen him for an entire season.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting about this show? So like I remember when Discovery came out, and like other than Michael Burnham and Captain Giorgio and maybe Lorca, like they didn't bother with any of the bridge crew until like season 2, where like they actually had a scene where Pike sits down and was like, "What's your names?
Right.
Introduce yourselves to me." And with this, they're putting a very heavy emphasis on the crew.
which is good.
Yeah.
Yes, totally agree.
Yeah.
Very good.
But
That's
you know,
what
and
makes
that,
good
but
Star
that's,
Trek is
yeah.
the
the funny thing is that that's, I think, part of the reason that season 2 resonated so much with the fans. Because what's the first thing Pike did? Go round robin with the entire bridge crew and talk to everybody by name.
Well, also we finally had a good captain.
Yeah.
Because I think I said
Well,
this
Lorca
before.
was an effective captain, but yeah, you didn't get the.
But he was also the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
So like one of the things about Star Trek is that the main character of the show is always the captain because he's the shot caller, right?
Right.
And so if you have a weak captain or you try to make a character other than the captain the main character, you run into all types of problems. And so, Pike was the first captain on Discovery that we could actually rally around and identify with.
Oh yeah, Pike. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on Pike. I don't think anybody's going to argue.
Oh, I love how they're doing the PTSD angle with him in his trailer. Everywhere he looks,
I haven't
you
seen it yet.
Okay. You should watch it. It's really good.
I better watch
All
it right after the live stream.
Okay, so here we have Nurse Chapel,
All right.
a classic character from the original series. She was played by Grace Whitney, right? What was her name?
Grace Lee Whitney. No, it was Majel Barrett.
That was Majel Barrett, the same person.
Oh, it was
who played
Majel
number
Barrett
one.
played. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm.
You're thinking of Yeoman Rand there.
She always
I
had
am
a
thinking of Yeoman Rand.
She always
Yes,
had a
yes.
crush on Spock. And
I think the blonde hair is threw me on that. So,
Yeah.
so Nurse Chapel, she's a big character in this show. I'm okay with this. I don't really have a huge problem with this character either because it does have it gives us the DNA attached to the crew that we all grew up and love. So it's just another piece of the puzzle, right? I didn't realize that Chapel was on the ship for that long, but I guess she was in the She was in the Menagerie episodes, right? Or no, she played the first officer.
She played the first officer.
Man, I'm all
Yeah,
over. I'm all
Yeah.
over the place. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all over the place. So
Yeah, but Nurse Chapel, I believe was she there before McCoy?
I don't
She
know.
was there early on, but
Yeah,
that's,
so I mean, I guess they're establishing by this that she definitely was there before McCoy, and she just stays around to be his, whatever. It's not the chief medical officer's number one, whatever that is.
So what about this comment? Is this correct? Would she not be aboard yet?
I mean, she's older.
again,
with
I'm not going to
McCoy.
argue about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's good that she looks so young and that her hair is short, because especially because I'm actually starting to feel like I know where in time this is happening now. This is probably, I'd say, 5 to 7 years before the first episode of Kirk's Star Trek. That way they had enough room to give themselves 5 to 7 seasons.
So we know Pike's going to be going the boop,
yeah.
boop, boop thing,
Yeah.
and like it makes me sad that we know how he ends up.
Dude, watch his whole trailer is just about that. It's
Yeah.
just about him knowing that he's.
I haven't seen that trailer yet.
What's weird to me is in Discovery, they have a person who was entirely rebuilt with cybernetics after a horrible accident.
Yeah.
And yet
Yeah.
Pike is just put in this box where he can only communicate with beeps and boops.
Yeah,
Like they couldn't rebuild him.
and that's the whole thing about, back to Mike's point of doing a reboot
Yeah.
instead, because then they wouldn't be stuck with that. Because you got to remember, like in the 1960s, they didn't have somebody, cybernetic character or any of that. You know what I mean? So I just think that's something we have to chalk up to because it's canon.
Yeah. Brian, Nurse Chapel, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna sign me up.
Sign you up?
She looks like a Targaryen.
She does.
I mean, yeah, I agree.
She very much
I'd
If
see
she was
that.
green, it'd be better, but it's good.
If she's an Orion, is that?
Yeah, man, I love me some Orion chicks.
So we should rename this Saturday morning stream to just Brian's fetishes.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What's this Brian like? Yes.
I guess.
Likes murdering doctors.
Something
Murder Doctor.
Murder doctors.
next week on the podcast.
albino nurses.
Right.
Murder Doctor
Hear that,
2.0.
hear that, Shane? Shane, you're gonna have to do a Brian fetish episode on the podcast.
Yeah, it's got to. Yeah. Oh, now we've got to. Yeah, definitely.
Now we're
Yeah.
going. Michael, Nurse
Little
Chapel,
ARM.
what do you think?
So you're asking my opinion on
I am.
Nurse Chapel?
Yeah.
Big thumbs down on her.
Okay.
Thumbs down?
I watched this trailer and I absolutely despise her. So she looks completely wrong to me. The hair is just, I just want to set it on fire. And the eyebrow, no, everything about her face, no. And number two, if you really want to make me mad, move the slider to 20 seconds on that promo.
20 seconds.
Do it. Do it.
Good Lord.
Do it now.
Enhance.
So-
Enhance.
or maybe that's the wrong promo. Let's see. It's where
Well, this is her. Like I kind of like
where
that they're
she
planting that
beats
seed
the
Look at those
crap-
sideburns. Look at those
No, it's not
sideburns.
the sideburns.
But
It's
she's
like
always had a thing for Spock.
she beats the crap out of an alien that's attacking her, and it's like, no, that's not Nurse Chapel.
That's not Nurse Chapel.
Nurse Chapel. It's not Nurse Chapel Kung Fu Fighter. And I'm sorry, that's one thing that made me mad about this, is that they're trying to make everybody's a badass, and that's I don't want that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
agree.
And so
Even the 85-pound girl.
yeah, Nurse Chapel. I mean, this Nurse Chapel is like, because on the trailer I'm looking at, and it's the trailer put on by Universal Star Trek. I don't know which posting you're looking at, but it's at 21 seconds is where it is. It's right after, like when you went to 20 seconds, go to 20 seconds on yours where you were.
Oh,
Yeah, there
is
it
this
is, right there. So she's taking down an alien that has a phaser rifle type thing. That ain't Nurse Chapel right there.
No, I agree with
That's
that's
I'm
totally
sorry.
not.
That
Yeah.
is complete BS right
Yeah.
there. And I mean, that's got me so close to just cussing up a storm, and I don't cuss. So that's No,
Yeah, but that's a lucky alien.
F
right there,
that.
dude.
F
Hey,
that.
hey, the
F
future,
that.
the future is female. Okay.
No, it's not about look. It's not about strong feet because you know what? If that were not on, I would have no problem with that whatsoever. That's freaking Nurse Chapel.
Yeah.
You know,
Nurse
It's
Chapel
nurse.
was always real. She
it's
was
the
always real
wrong
timid.
character.
Yeah.
Okay. If, like I said, if it was on, I would have zero concern about that.
Yeah.
Not freaking Nurse Chapel. Okay.
Yeah.
So no, I hate this character already. Granted, I'm going to watch the show with an open mind, but this, yeah, that makes me mad.
All right, Matthew.
You know, I didn't even notice that until you pointed it out. You know, such a small part. I was more caught up on. I thought she looked the part. I thought she was the right age. I got excited to see that she was. They were planting the seeds. Like, oh, so she's always like Spock. So she had that unrequited love for like 10 years or whatever at least.
Yeah.
So.
No, screw that noise.
Spock's banging all the chicks, man.
Her knowing kung fu. I don't know about that. That's not cool.
Sexy Spock.
So can we go to?
I'm getting nervous. Relax. Keep.
You really want to talk about that one?
That was the one that pissed me off the most.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there.
All right.
Yeah, Nurse Chapel obviously got me worked up a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Okay, here we go. Lieutenant Uhura. I'm just gonna go right to you,
No,
Matt.
it's Cadet Uhura.
Cadet Uhura at this point.
Yeah.
Take it away, Matthew Kadish. Give us your thoughts on Cadet Uhura and her linguistic skills.
She looks like a teenage boy.
Wow. Harsh.
That's the biggest thing for me. It's like she does not look like the Uhura that we grew up with.
I mean, Uhura was curvy. She was sexy.
She was feminine.
She had hair. I don't think they're ever going to introduce the skirts outfits because, it's too woke now. But
so the skirts,
they embraced her her femininity and her sexiness. Like she did the dancing, and all that. Remember,
There's the skirt.
Okay, so there is kind of a skirt, just
but she's got leggings and stuff on. But there's the skirt. I was wondering if they were going to show a original series style uniform, but they're definitely taking it back a notch. They're not definitely not like.
But I just this is all wrong. Like as Michael was upset about the kung fu thing. My biggest thing is like this isn't Uhura, and there's nothing against this actress, but like Uhura was a curvy, sexy, Uhura did it for me, so yeah, this is a thumbs down for me.
Thumbs down. It's like, is it a casting issue or is it she's just wrong for the part, the wrong look?
I just don't like the short hair, man.
The short hair and like she's like if you rewind it to where you could see her whole body again, she just looks. She has the. I mean, I don't know. Maybe under that.
I don't think that's a good angle to really.
Yeah, it's not. But
I think she's a little curvier than you give her credit for.
She just looks like.
But I don't think those uniforms accentuate it.
Yeah, that looks like a dude right there. I'm sorry.
It does. That's my point.
Mean to be a dick, but that's not Uhura.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm guessing that's a cadet uniform, like
probably
from the academy.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and like talk shit about people's looks and everything, but I'm
sure she's a beautiful woman.
I feel like the casting is wrong.
Yeah.
And the style of the character is wrong. I mean, I don't think Starfleet Academy has really hard rules about hairstyles or anything like that. So you can't say that she got her head shaved to go into the academy. But it seems like a miss. It seems like a miss to me. And
but we'll see. These again, just like like we're just going off. But still, I just in my gut, and that's what you asked me to go with. That's
all we want. That's all we want is your gut. So, So thumbs down for me initially. Matt, you're a thumbs down.
Yeah, definite thumbs down on this.
Brian.
Yeah, not a fan.
Not a fan.
Not really.
Salty Trekker.
I'm really torn on her There are elements about her that I like. There are elements I don't like. First of all, and this is a nitpick, I know, but this is something that bugs me in the Kurtzman era Trek across the board. Cadets don't serve on ships. If a cadet is serving on active duty on a ship, their rank is midshipman.
Yeah.
We saw
talked
that.
about this the other night, I think.
Yeah, we saw that in Star Trek 2.
Elnor was a cadet.
Right, but in, like, for example, in Star Trek 2, Peter Preston, midshipman, that's the correct rank for a cadet on active duty. If you are a naval cadet and you go on active duty, you are a midshipman. That's what your rank is before you receive your active commission. There's no such thing as a cadet on a ship. That doesn't exist. And so I hate that. It's one thing that just drives me crazy. There's no such thing as a cadet on a ship. It's midshipman the second you step on a ship.
See, and how hard would it be to hire somebody like you as a script
consultant?
Right,
just to get a consultant on that.
Yeah.
But that's just a nitpick. That has nothing to do with the actress or the characterization. As far as what they've shown, now they've shown that she's a linguistic master, which they kind of set up in the Kelvin timeline as well, which I actually like that they did that. They didn't really do that so much with Nichelle, but with Nichelle, they just kind of pushed that she was a technical master, that she understood the equipment.
Remember that scene in the movies where she was going through all the books to try to figure out how to speak Klingon?
Right.
Yeah.
But she also was the person that knew how to rip apart the circuit boards and put them back together in the original series. And so
so this feels more like this
is more like what we saw in the Kelvin timeline, where she's a linguistics master, which I'm fine with. But this again goes back to, they should just make this a freaking reboot.
Yeah, they should, because wait a minute, she didn't know Klingon. She had to look it up in a book.
Right. She should have just been able to speak, because remember, even in the Kelvin timeline, she straight up spoke Klingon.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that was Star Trek 6, right, where she was trying to.
Yeah, in Star Trek 6, she had to look up Klingon in a book in order to speak it, because the universal translator would be detected by their systems, or blah blah blah. And that was Uhura being a technician as opposed to a linguist. And then in the Kelvin timeline, and it looks like here, she's a linguist. And I like the linguist idea better.
Oh, I do too. It just but that just ruined that scene for me now, because I feel like that Uhura, she got old and forgot Klingon.
so this makes me feel like this is more along the lines of the reboot. As far as the short hair thing, I know that that bothers some people. It doesn't bother me, because to me it makes it feel like she's being a little more Afrocentric, which is also a thing. Sure. Keep in mind, Uhura is not African American. She's African.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so
Swahili, right, or something like that.
Yeah, her native language is Swahili, and so her having a hairstyle like that doesn't bother me in the slightest.
I have a hard time trying to say what I want to say about the character and not trying to sound like a complete and total asshole, because I don't really the character. It just looks like a miscast to me.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying?
She doesn't look like Nichelle.
No, she doesn't.
But neither did Zoe Saldana. No. And I think Zoe, the problem is, look, and I think Nichelle was absolutely beautiful. Nichelle helped bring me through puberty back in the day. So
amen. Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you know it, but she actually posed naked back in the day.
I did know that, actually.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know anything about that.
So my mom's watching, so I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah, so I can't confirm or deny ever having seen those pictures, but I will say that Nichelle is an absolutely beautiful woman. I had a total crush on her when I was a kid, and so she is. I had the biggest crush on her more than anybody else in the original series, but and I don't think that this woman is nearly as beautiful as Nichelle was. That being said, I'm not going to rate her character based on her looking as good as Nichelle.
Right.
Okay, I
so
don't think that's fair.
I guess our initial thoughts across the panel are probably down in the negative zone. So, okay, moving on.
But it does feel like a reboot. She totally
It
feels like a
does.
reboot.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So
Now what's left? Spock?
We got Spock. Oh, no, we got Na'an. We got to do Na'an.
Ladies, man.
the what?
Na'an. Did you do Na'an?
I don't even know who that one is. I must have missed
Na'an Nanian Singh.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Well, let's
Yeah.
talk about Spock. Let's talk about Spock.
Let's talk about Spock, baby.
Let's talk about Spock's sideburns.
yeah.
Let's talk about Spock's
Do we
sideburns.
really have to just talk about his sideburns?
But they're like drawn on. They're like,
I have a feeling that has to do with a specific adventure.
it's crazy. It's like
Either they're infected with some kind of alien virus, or they are, he has to go to a planet of drag queens.
Yeah, there you go. So Ethan Peck, right?
Yeah, Ethan Peck, Gregory Peck's grandson, I want to say.
Yes.
His portrayal kind of was divisive amongst the fans in season 2 of Discovery, right? I mean,
I liked him. I liked him better than Quinto.
I thought of the number one and Pike, this Spock made me ask the most questions as far as the big three on the Enterprise when they were on Discovery, and I fully think that he can pull the character off, but I think we're going to have to give him some time to do it. I don't know. So, but drawing things like a 6-inch long sideburns on the side of his face isn't going to be helping his cause. Matthew, what are your initial thoughts on Spock here? Do you have anything to say?
I hated bringing in Spock in Discovery, and I don't know. Like, it might have been inspired if they had brought in Zachary Quinto to reprise the role, but
that would be great.
Here it just feels like a cheap copy of Leonard Nimoy, and I don't know. Like, I my feelings on retreads. Like, I don't feel franchises should keep going backwards. I feel like they need to go forwards in order to keep things interesting. Like, if they had made like an entirely new ship, and these actors weren't playing old established characters, if these were like new characters that these actors were coming in, I'd be way more excited, because I'd be like, okay, I want to find out more about these characters. Like, okay, he's not Spock, but he's like someone who's kind of like Spock. Like, I'd like to see something like that. And instead, like, we're pigeonholed in this original series era where we're constantly going to be comparing them to what came before, which arguably is much better. So like this entire concept of doing prequels, to me, is just a miss from beginning to end.
I mean,
So I take it you don't like Spock then?
I like Spock.
Is that a thumbs down? I mean, this version, like he's.
I mean, like he is what he is, right? He's the character that we all know, played by a different actor, and they're just making the different actor look stupid with those sideburns.
Yeah,
So-
that was ridiculous.
So like it's one of those things where it's like I'm against this entire concept to begin with. Like, I do not think we should be getting TV series set in pre-original series timeframes. I would like to see post, like between Star Trek: The Next Generation and whenever the fuck
Or why not whatever's after Voyager?
the burn, or like whatever, like where the Starfleet fell when all the dilithium blew up in the universe.
when the Kelpian had his temper tantrum and blew the universe up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like I'd like to see some forward progression with Star Trek as opposed to retreading.
Well, I
old
could
stuff.
argue with you about that for days.
Okay, that's fine.
You should do that on your show, Salty Trekker. You should have Matthew on your show. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same problem with Star Wars, Star Wars too, where like these major franchises just keep tapping into the well of prequels instead of moving forward with the stuff where like they're not constrained by what came before, and that arguably is a healthier and more creative field to work in.
Right.
I feel like everything in this show is going to be constrained by continuity, where they either break continuity and piss off the fans, or they stick to continuity and it's boring. So,
which is why they need to say the word reboot.
but they're not going to.
They're
and
not,
and they're not.
Right. But they
we don't even know what fucking timeline we're in.
We don't.
Yeah.
Well, we know they say it's the prime timeline, but the
shows never establish this. We
Yeah,
never
they
get
do.
any of this from the shows.
They absolutely do. They say that in the in Discovery. When they talked about Georgiou crossing over and all that, they actually do.
Yeah, they reference the Kelvin timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I do remember. Which, how would they know about that, though?
Well, because they're magical in the 32nd century.
But it's kind of like, is Picard in the Kelvin timeline? Like, what's going on here? Like there's so many questions about what the logistics
is not
of these shows.
Okay,
that's fine. But what my point is like, they've never made this clear to the audience. They've never sat down and specifically said, "Hey guys, we're ignoring the Kelvin timeline because it sucks," or like whatever.
Well, Vulcan exists as a planet.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. But the point is that
there can be more than the two.
They're playing very fast and loose with
Right.
continuity, and it's annoying to me.
I understand.
I would love it if they just came out and said, "Hey, we're rebooting the entire Star Trek timeline. Here's how we're doing it." But they're not doing that. They're kind of like,
they're pussyfooting around.
They're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
And the problem is that they're trying to say this is the same timeline as Captain Kirk, but look at the Enterprise.
yeah,
look at
the showrunners
technology.
can come out in news interviews and say that it's in a certain timeline all they want, but until they put it in the shows and make it clear in the shows, it's not canon.
Well,
and it's confusing to people who don't read those articles.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, and then people, and this is where, because we have canon and we have continuity, right? Canon says that all this is the collective authoritative works of Trek, and then continuity is how well does this stuff work together, and they're in direct conflict with each other. Because what is canon is that Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek the original series are in the same timeline, even though from a continuity standpoint that makes zero sense.
And that's why it would have been smart if they had used Picard to basically just reset everything.
Right.
Just like Picard, went back, changed the timeline, and so now everything has remerged, and we don't have the stupid Kelvin timeline.
Hey, maybe they're doing that now with the Confederation.
I
thing.
doubt it.
Wouldn't that be something though? If that was what Picard
like a
was
Flashpoint event. Like
that'd be something. That for sure.
It's like I think it's been established that these shows are set in the prime timeline, but I totally get what you're saying, Matt. It's really confusing about a lot of this stuff. I'm gonna move us forward here. We got another character that you guys, I guess I missed this one somehow. So Security Chief La'an
Noonien Singh.
Another girl that looks like a boy.
Well, I don't know if she looks like a boy. She's kind of hot.
She just has her hair pulled back.
But tell us about this character, Michael. Who is this person?
Her past is not clearly defined, except that based on her name, everybody is assuming that she is the direct descendant of Khan Noonien Singh.
Yep.
Okay.
Because her last name is Noonien Singh,
right.
which is kind of a little on the nose. And this is where, again, we get into the reboot category, because if she is, in fact, the direct descendant of Khan Noonien Singh, and, I'm sorry, but, by the way, super chat alert.
I see. I'll get it in a minute. Go ahead.
But if she is the direct descendant of Khan, and they're going to seriously say that in a few years they pick up Khan, and Spock knew La'an, and Uhura knew La'an, and Nurse Chapel knew La'an, and nobody said a dang thing about it.
Very strange.
There's a problem, and they didn't even know who Khan was.
So this whole inclusion of this character is
it completely breaks the timeline unless this is a reboot.
Right. That's what I was just gonna say. This is the timebreaker. This is the weird one. Really quick, Danny.
Super chat.
Mr. Tickle Trunk for $5. Spock is current day TV. Shows are just references and member berries. This is not a Star Trek show. It's data-driven content. Yeah, you're probably not wrong.
So, but
thank
didn't
you.
they have like Khan recognize Chekhov, who he had never met in the show? Like,
Yeah, but that
there's
you
like
know,
a long history of that.
but that's like a minor thing compared to this, because Khan recognizing Chekhov, you could say, you know, and there the argument was made that, well, Chekhov was on the ship, he just wasn't a bridge officer, you know. And so, and in fact, I loved Walter Koenig's actual answer and his joke answer. The actual answer was, when they wrote the script, they actually asked the actors to look for inconsistencies to make sure they didn't screw up. And Koenig noticed that, yeah, Khan recognized me and that wouldn't happen. But he decided not to point that out because it was such a great scene and he didn't want to lose that scene with Khan. But
He didn't want to lose the screen time.
yeah, but the joke answer was that what people don't realize is that Chekhov was a junior officer and he had clogged up the toilet just before Khan had to use it. And that's why Khan was so pissed off when he saw Chekhov. He was like, I never forget a face, because he couldn't use the
Dude,
toilet.
I love the redesigned Enterprise bridge.
Yeah, I do like
That thing looks slick.
I think there's too many neon lights, but other than that, I think it's a beautiful set.
Yeah.
Now the
it's
real
a
question
mega
is,
scene.
are there any Rockstar like explosion barrels that, you know, when the ship
Oh,
gets hit?
steam vents and spark.
Yeah,
spark
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm okay with explosion barrels, but if they start having like they did with Discovery this year, where they have specific spots where flames shoot out, I'm gonna get pissed.
The little fire pots. And
Yeah.
that always come out of the same spot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna make me mad. That was so stupid.
Hey Brian, we haven't heard from you in a while. What are your thoughts on Miss Lon here?
Yeah, I find it fascinating that she is possibly related in some way to Khan. However, I do think that unless it's a very distant relative, I'm pretty sure it's just sort of canon breaking. So
Yeah, she's and if she has superpowers, it's over.
Would she be an augment? Would she
if
be
she's
some
an
kind of-
augment, then it's game over, dude.
Oh, yeah,
GG,
like-
well played, we're done.
Yeah.
the demure little lady who's super strong, that would make sense if for her
Excuse me,
being
I have to go
the
beat my dog.
security chief, right? So
She is the security chief.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, this
New
is
World
canon
security
breaking.
chief.
Okay.
It's a little
Yeah.
out there for me.
Yeah, no, how yeah, no. Because Spock would have known who Khan was in Space Seed.
Right.
Like
Oh yeah, our chief of security was your great granddaughter.
So
yeah.
we just got broken. Is that what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Well, we don't know for sure, and so that's the thing.
Who was the security chief on the original series?
There wasn't one.
There wasn't one.
Yeah.
It was always
They had occasional security chiefs that would pop up as red shirts and then promptly die.
yeah.
You know.
Maybe she won't be around very long.
Yeah, that would be hilarious if she died in the first episode.
That would be
like,
amazing.
I'm your new chief of
then you know what? Then it's not canon breaking. Yeah. if she
exactly,
died-
because they'd be like,
yeah,
"What
yeah.
was her name? I don't know,
I don't
on
remember,
something."
Yeah,
Oh well.
she's here for a day.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be
That would
good.
be awesome. You know what? I think we're gonna stop with this character. We'll do Pike later. Matthew, you have any thoughts on Lieutenant La'an?
I
I don't know
don't.
if she's security chief La'an. I don't even know what her rank is.
It's
The
missing
security
a
chief or
lot.
rank or
No, that's a position.
position? Okay.
It's in
I'm gonna give this one a thumbs down. I think it's a canon breaker. We're gonna have a lot of problems with this character if they go in the direction we think they're going.
Well,
It's
you
gonna
know
be-
that
it's gonna be a problem.
they're planning a Khan series spinoff or mini series or something like that. So this might be a setup for that type of thing.
I don't know. So,
They've been talking about
thumbs down
that
for me.
and the Section 31 and stuff for so many years. I think it's vaporware at this point.
yeah. So Danny, you're out on this one.
Oh, totally. Makes unless they kill her in the first episode.
That would be pretty funny. Brian,
Yeah.
you're out with this one.
No, I'm not out.
No, not out.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'm
just
not
not
out,
in. I'm
but
just not-
but they've got to say reboot.
They're not going to say reboot.
They're not gonna say reboot.
They're not going to do that.
They're not gonna.
What if
yeah.
she's not an augment and she's just a distant relative of Khan? And it's just a name recognition. It has nothing to do with Khan Unicide.
I kind of hope she's an augment at this point, just for the chaos it'll.
Just
Yeah.
to see Mike
Just-
absolutely self-destruct.
The internet will go nuts. Yeah, that'll be great. Michael, you're what are you? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
I don't know. It's like if it's a reboot, I'll go thumbs up. If it's not a reboot, I'm going to say
right.
thumbs down.
Yeah.
Matthew,
I don't care.
don't care. on that
He's
note,
just
Matt,
over it.
Matt, let's wrap it up and get out of here. I'm gonna throw the show
Yeah.
back to you, buddy.
All right, guys. So, just real quick, final thoughts. Thinking about the next episode of Picard, where the show's going. Danny, what do you think is going to happen? It looks like they don't leave the ball in the next episode.
No, it doesn't look like they. Yeah, it looks like we're going to spend an entire episode there, but I'm sure there's probably going to be like some intercutting stuff with Soong's adventures with Q, because Q's got him. What is it that Soong's got to do something for Q. So I think those are going to be the two stories we see in the next episode. I think the Picard thing might be a red herring. Like I don't think he's really in danger. It might be more of a setup for a distraction. I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing Girardi's interaction with her make-believe Borg queen friend. So I'm actually I'm probably going to be more forgiving than you guys, but it left me wanting to see the episode. So that's what the show's supposed to do. So I can't completely crap on the episode, even though in my opinion, episode 2, we really fell off a cliff and I was just so bummed. And this is at least, I think, going in a better direction. So, I'm looking forward to seeing next week's episode, and I really, really hope I enjoy it, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm a little scared.
So, Brian, I believe next week's episode is episode 6. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Which means we only have 3 more episodes left to go before the end of the season. What are your thoughts and predictions for episode 6?
We're going back to the future pretty soon here, boys. We can't be in the past much longer. I think that they're going to start some time shenanigans coming up here soon, and they're gonna either go back or they're gonna go forward, but they're not gonna stay in the present much longer.
Well, let's hope not. Michael, what are your final thoughts and predictions for the next episode?
I actually think that of the stuff in the 21st century, this episode was probably the most fun. I'm glad that the ice crap is done. And I think that this next episode, they're going to wrap up the stuff with Renee Picard. The episode after that, they're going to wrap up the stuff with Soong, and then they're going to go back to the future.
Okay, Vader, any final thoughts?
I think it's going to be well paced.
I'm just in cruise control with Picard right now. I don't remember how we felt during season 1. We got to the middle of the season, and we're just like, I wonder if this show can annoy me anymore. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm on cruise control with it. I'm not as far out of the show as I was during season 1, but man, they've really got to make this show better.
Yeah,
for me to really give a whole lot of crap about it.
Yeah,
it's I watch it because it's fun to talk about it with you guys. So that's about the only reason right now. So
I think we said that last time, didn't we? Last week, but right, Kate?
Pretty close. Yeah.
I disagree with Brian. I think that they're going to remain in the modern era up until the final episode, and that's going to lead into a cliffhanger for season 3. But I don't see them getting back to the future anytime soon.
I forgot that season 3 is connected to 2.
Yeah,
You might be right,
they're shot right after each other.
Season 3 they end up in like the.
I think we're gonna.
century.
I think we're gonna be. If we go back to the future at all this season, it's gonna be like the last. It's gonna be the finale.
From what I've heard from talking to people that know, like Doug Drexler, season 3 is going to be insane.
I hope so.
Insane in a bad way, probably.
No, in a good way.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. They've had 2 seasons so far.
Hey, if Doug Drexler says it, that's a good sign.
I have a hard time calling 8 episodes a season of anything.
I know.
I know.
Right?
I don't
That's
like.
just-
That's why I said I want 20-episode seasons.
Yeah.
They're mini series.
Yeah.
So,
Or an 8-hour movie, which is
Yeah.
essentially what it is.
Yeah.
let's
Anyway,
wrap this up.
guys, I want to thank my distinguished panel for coming on and talking Trek with us today. Danny, the Dork Knight, where can people find out more about you?
At Dork Night LV on Twitter. You can check out I am the marketing director for the local charity called the Las Vegas Cosplayers Alliance. You can check them out at cosplayersalliance.org. Other than that, you can find me here Saturdays, talking about Star Trek. Fridays, I'm usually on the Pop Culture Minefield stream. It's 12 Pacific time, noon. And then, I put my link in there earlier, but thanks to this guy below me, I actually have a t-shirt shop now.
Woo-hoo.
So, I'd love for people to check it out. It's mixtees.com/dork-night. So check that out. Thank you.
Brian, where can people find out more about you?
The Podcast Live, youtube.com/the Podcast Live. We are so ridiculously close to 1,000 subs. So if you are not subbed to us and you're interested in the same stuff we're talking about here, head on over there and hit that sub button. Speaking of, Shane's not going to be here next week. So it looks like it's going to be me, Danny, and I think Mike might be joining us on the stream next Friday, which might be fun.
Cool.
So yeah, check it out, Podcast Live, and our main channel, the Podcast. Which once I'm done here, I'm going to be putting a video out today about the new Stargate show.
All right.
And Michael, where can people find out more about you?
You find me over at Salty Trekker here on YouTube mainly, and my main stream is every Friday. Well, Thursday nights at 8. We have Central Time. We do Jeopardy, where we do some very serious Jeopardy. Where somebody who's on this panel was bragging about how he was going to dominate and got his
I got destroyed.
Handed to him.
I got destroyed, but I was also like, it's all good. If you watch it, you'll understand.
He was trying to make excuses.
No, I'm not even going to make an excuse. I was,
But yeah, we do serious Trek trivia there on Thursday nights on Jeopardy, and then on Friday we do movie night with Matthew. This last week we did an April Fool's. We were supposed to watch Star Trek 2009, and just as Nero shows up on the view screen, it was actually a friend of mine showing up on the view screen saying, "Haha, you thought it was going to be Nero, wrong answer," and the movie switched to Highlander.
Nice.
And so then we watched Highlander, but this week we're going to actually watch Star Trek 2009.
Okay.
So
There can be only one.
yeah, those are at 9:00 Central, so 7 Pacific. If you want to join us, we watch usually a Star Trek episode and then the movie. Kind of as a little double feature. We have a lot of fun just watching the movie and riffing it and having some fun. So join us Friday nights for that.
All right, and Matt Vader, what do we have going on Monday? We got a watch party for Atlantis.
Watch party for Atlantis on Monday night after Alex's Salty Nerd late night stream on our Discord channel. We'll be watching Stargate Atlantis. What's the episode?
Episode 10, Underground.
Or Underground. We're in Atlantis month, so yeah, we're having fun with that. Classic sci-fi for our Wednesday shows that we release. Yeah, Wednesday shows. So.
Well, Monday shows.
Monday shows.
Wednesday shows are the Halo.
That's right.
TV
we
reviews.
release so much content, dude. I get everything mixed up. So yeah.
And this coming Friday, we're going to be doing non-Austin Powers Mike Myers movies on the main show, which means Wayne's World, Wayne's World 2, and So I Married an Axe Murderer, which was the last
So I Married an Axe Murderer is a classic.
See, that's what I say. Vader calls me crazy for thinking
Vader's wrong.
Stupid movie.
He's often wrong, yes.
The table was split this week, hardcore. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, thank you everyone in chat who showed up and participated. We really appreciate, especially our super chatters, Mexican Iron Man, Mr. Tickle Trunk. You guys are awesome. And tune in next week where we will be talking about yet another episode of Picard and maybe some more Strange New World stuff. And it's going to be a good time. So anyway, everyone, thank you all for tuning in and stay salty, my friends.
Salty.